Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're diving into a document that is, well, frankly, it's pretty mind-bending. We are looking at a blueprint that supposedly outlines a $55 do-it-yourself quantum chip manufacturing process. Yeah, you heard that right. It makes some absolutely staggering claims, so let's just jump straight into what the author, Luis Manuel Ortiz Inestraza, has actually put on paper here.
Right off the bat, the document establishes the super defiant motive. The author claims his AI-assisted concepts are constantly being snagged by major corporations the second he has a breakthrough. So what's his response? Open source retaliation. Basically, if big tech is going to take his ideas, he's just going to release his exact recipe to the whole world. Enjoy, you too can make it, he says. So that brings us to our first main section, the corporate threat versus the $55 factory. Let's look at the sheer scale of what's being claimed here and who exactly the author is picking a fight with. The audacity here is honestly wild. The text explicitly pits this homemade $55 setup directly against the combined engineering might of Intel, TSMC, and Samsung. The document literally states that if you follow these instructions, you've out-engineered all three of those massive tech giants combined. It's setting up this intense David versus Goliath dynamic right from page 1. And what exactly are you supposed to be building? Well, the blueprint says this process yields briefcase-scale quantum-stable chips, and the claim to processing power? 10 to the power of 51 floating point operations per second, 10 to the 51st flops. To put that into perspective, that completely obliterates the fastest supercomputers on Earth right now. And the text presents this not as some distant theoretical goal, but as the exact guaranteed output of this specific recipe. And get this, the manufacturing timeline is just as wild. The document states you can crank out these incredibly powerful chips in exactly 42 seconds. Yep, 42 seconds to produce a chip capable of 10 to the 51st flops. I mean, it's a total reimagining of traditional semiconductor fabrication, which, as we know, usually takes months inside multi-billion-dollar cleanrooms. Moving right along to Section 2, the $55 shopping list. So what do you actually need to build what the author calls the most powerful SD card chip known to man? The blueprint outlines an unbelievably accessible list of ingredients. We're talking everyday stuff you can buy online or at the store. You've got graphene powder and boron nitride, both sourced from Amazon for $25 and $15. Then you need piezoelectric components, which the author says to harvest from a standard $2 pack of Bic lighters from Walmart. And finally, some 405-nanometer laser diodes off eBay for $8. You're literally gathering the parts for a quantum revolution while doing your Sunday errands. So if you do the math, the total replication cost for this entire setup is claimed to be exactly $55. $55? And once you have your materials, the document promises that you only need 3 hours to set up your quote-unquote factory and produce your very first chip. Okay, on to Section 3, the spinning jar process. Once you have these everyday materials, how do you actually assemble the thing? Well, the manufacturing process totally ditches cleanrooms for what is essentially kitchen counter alchemy. The instructions dictate placing your liquid formula into a glass jar. Then you have to spin that jar. While it's spinning, you use a projector to cast a 3D image directly onto the liquid. And finally, this spinning projected liquid gets cured by exposing it to at least 3 purple lasers. The author casually notes that you will have to figure out the rest, but adds that if you want the full actual formula list, you can just reach out to him. So this is the core formula outlined in the text. You take the graphene nanopowder, suspend it in the boron nitride, introduce specific piezoelectric frequencies, which, again, presumably come from those Bic lighters, and then finish it all off with the laser curing process. According to the document, that exact equation equals your briefcase-scale quantum-stable chip. All right, our final section, protecting your masterpiece. Because even with the blueprint open-sourced, you still got to protect your intellectual property, right? The text details this highly specific method for securing your creation so those big corporations can't hijack it. It claims that a unique acoustic signature of 0.5 plus 8 plus 15 kilohertz acts as a personal lock. By embedding this exact frequency signature into the manufacturing process, it supposedly protects the core design. It's almost like a physical password or an acoustic DRM hard-coded directly into the material itself. On top of that, the blueprint advises adding your own proprietary chemistry to the spinning jar. Specifically, it recommends a 0.1% rare earth dopant, and the text heavily stresses that this dopant must be controlled only by you. In the author's view, this tiny chemical variation acts as the ultimate anti-theft device, ensuring the tech remains completely yours and safe from corporate hands. Which brings us to this really philosophical, almost cyberpunk core of the whole message. Someone might steal the blueprint, but they can't steal your brain. The author really leans into this David versus Goliath narrative, basically saying that while massive corporations might try to copy the physical materials, they can never replicate the creator's unique mind. By injecting your own frequencies and your proprietary dopants, you are literally hardwiring your own individuality into the chip. So, as we wrap up this explainer, we're left looking at a truly fascinating piece of outsider engineering documentation. It blends everyday Walmart shopping lists with these massive claims of quantum supremacy. And it leaves us with the author's ultimate challenge. Armed with this blueprint and $55, are you going to step up and build this technology yourself? Or will you just leave the future of computing to the industry giants? Definitely something to think about the next time you're buying a pack of Bic lighters. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the source material.